Hey guys, welcome back to A Page in the Chapter, or welcome if you are new here. My name is Paige and today we are doing the Festive Christmas book tag. I did this tag last year and I really enjoyed it and was genuinely looking forward to getting to do it again this December. So even though I've already done it, my answers will be different because for this Christmas book tag I'm only using books that I've read this year. So it can be a more up-to-date festive Christmas book tag, whereas last year's one was like of all time type of thing. As you can see, I have decorated for Christmas. I'm in my Christmas jumper, I've got my Christmas mug. It's very festive around here. I am a very festive person. I do have to work over Christmas this year, which is ruining my festivities a little bit, but I'm trying very hard not to let it get me down. If you guys like this tag and you like seeing tags and you want to get in the festive spirit with me and enjoy the Christmas period, then do feel free to hit that big red subscribe button down below and stay tuned for future content. I upload twice a week on a Wednesday and a Friday, so there is no shortage of bookish content here. And literally just before this video I started filming my Merry and Bright readathon vlog, so you can expect that next week. I'm really excited for this readathon. That is some upcoming content for you to enjoy, and it's gonna be festive content all day every day here on this channel, except not all day every day because I don't post all day every day, but you know what I mean. And on that note, let's get into the tag questions. So the first question is a fictional family you would like to spend Christmas dinner with. So I believe last year I chose the Delos family from Starcrossed. They are still one of my favourite families of all time. I have spoken about them in another tag that was family related, I think. I just love that family. But in terms of books that I've read this year, a family that really sticks out to me is basically every single family in A Sky Painted Gold. I love the Kaju siblings, I love their glitz and glamour and how they stick together and what they're doing for each other and all the misunderstandings that they're causing in their lives just because they want to be there for each other and they think they're doing the right thing for each other. Turns out that they're both doing the wrong thing. So I love how they stick together. I also absolutely adore just the family dynamics of Lou and her little like small town Cornish family, and the fact that she's constantly worried about disappointing them because she wants to go off and explore the world rather than getting married, and it actually turns out that they want that for her too and they've never expected more of her than she's been able to offer. And they're a very close-knit, cute, small town family and they're just perfect. I would love to spend Christmas with them. I think it would just be a very loud let's wear ugly Christmas jumpers and play Christmas games all day every day type of family, and I don't really have that. So I have a very small family and we don't do much, so I always gravitate towards big loud families that do a lot of things together. And so the next question is a bookish item you'd like to receive as a gift. So if you saw last year's one, you will already know this, but I do have a bookmark collection. This is not all of them. I've got quite a few inside books right now because I'm being a little bit naughty. But yeah, I've got a load of Book Depository ones. Back when Book Depository used to send like the little comic strip ones. They don't do that anymore, which is really disappointing. Got a little elephant. I've got a like celestial one, We Are Stardust Meant to Shine. I've got this like world map one that I actually purchased in Berlin, and it has German, it's written in German obviously. This one is one that I inherited from my mother. So yeah, I have a bookmark collection. I always love to receive bookmarks. I like kind of like weird and wonderful ones, to be honest. Like I have this one that's got like a little magnifying glass on it, and then the other end is nerd. I prefer the term intellectual badass. So like I just like weird and wonderful bookmarks. I like really want like a bookish jumper. You want to come up? Someone was begging to be picked up. You're getting fat, buddy. You're getting a little fat. I also particularly like I want like a bookish, readery kind of jumper or like sweatshirt or something like that, but the issue that I'm having with it is they are either all really ostentatious or they are all American or Canadian. The kind of like jumper that I want is like the merch that Ariel Bissett has just released. It's just got like It's a plain jumper, it's got like a little quote across the front and then like an embroidered book like on the sleeves. That's like kind of how subtle I want it to be. I don't want all of this like massive like book print all over it, and so I would just order Arials, but I don't think that that's going to ship to England, and if it does ship to England I don't particularly want to pay the cost of another jumper in shipping. But if anyone like knows of any like UK based sellers on like Etsy or just any other kind of selling place that does Bookish jumpers, leave them in the comments because I really want one. A fictional character you think would make a perfect Christmas elf. I think this is like the hardest question in the whole tag. Like, what does that even mean? How can a character who's not a Christmas elf be a Christmas elf? I do, however, have an answer though. I don't think it's a particularly good one though. I'm not like proud of this answer. It's just the most recent book that I've read, so it kind of was, she was like sticking in my head. And that is Vassia from The Bear and the Nightingale. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but that's how I read it, the entire book. She isn't really like an elf, but she reminds me of like a nymph or a pixie. She's constantly described as like being this like wild girl who's like lost in the woods and the wilderness and who's really brave and just happy to like be out in nature. So that's kind of what made me associate her with this question, even though a Christmas elf is not the same thing. But also this book is super wintry and Christmassy. The majority of the book takes place in the winter. It's this religion versus paganism dualism that drives the plot, and it's about how this very rural northern Russian village struggles with these really harsh winters, and that pushes them either in this religion versus paganism way and how that plays out. So it's a very wintry book and an incredibly interesting fantasy. And that's kind of why I think Vassia would be a good Christmas elf, because she's very good at winter and she's very nymph-esque. As I said, I'm really not happy with this answer because like winter nymph is just not the same as Christmas elf, but it's the closest I could get. I haven't been reading the kind of books this year that would give me a Christmas elf character. We then have match a book to a Christmas song. I have a whole video where I did this last year. I'm thinking about potentially doing another one this year, but I have chosen my favourite Christmas song in the this is my favourite Christmas song, and that is Last Christmas by Wham. It's basic, I know, but it feels like Christmas when this song is on, and I love it. And the book that I have chosen for this is the Falling in Love montage. Now, this book is not Christmassy in vibe, and it's not a perfect match, but I feel like they're both thematically about heartbreak and getting over heartbreak and finding a new person, and like being kind of like stuck in the past and stuck in their own beliefs and I was hurt once, so I have these rules to protect myself type of romance. And that's very much what the Falling in Love montage is, and I just feel like it matches a little bit with Last Christmas by Wham. A book or fictional character that should be put on the naughty list. This was one of the easiest questions on this tag. The most naughty list deserving book series would have to be the Crazy Rich Asians series. This series should never ever have been published. I can't believe that it was. It was too long-winded, too complicated. Nothing actually happens in these stories. They're just hundreds and hundreds of pages about rich people shopping, which I like reading books about rich people, but this one didn't do it for me. I really believe that it should not have been published. The first one could have been saved with some better editing. The next two just should not have been. I definitely recommend watching the movies over the books. And then the next book that I picked was Always and Forever, Lara Jean. I don't hate this one quite as much as the others. I don't think the whole series either deserves to be on the naughty list, just this one book, because I found it predictable, boring. Nothing happened in it. It was more about Lara Jean's dad and his romance than Lara Jean and Peter. Why was Peter acting like that? Why was Peter being a gaslighty, manipulative douchebag, and then Lara Jean was the one who had to keep apologising for it, even when she knew that it was not her fault? It was a bad description of a romance that we should not be selling to kids. That one deserves to be on the naughty list, but the rest, like the first book in the series of that one, is a perfectly good book. I gave it 4 stars. That one's fine. It just maybe in the same way just shouldn't have been continued. A book of fictional character that should be on the nice list. FriYAY is the top of the nicest of nice lists. He is the sweetest, most loving, most adorable character in most of the books that I have read this year, and he deserves the world. He deserves to get everything he wants for Christmas, have the nicest, most wonderful Christmas in the world. There isn't a more deserving character than FriYAY from A Man Called FriYAY by Fredrik Backman. I love that man. Then we have Red, Gold and Green, a book cover that has a Christmassy feel to it. I don't remember what books I picked for last year, but I'm pretty sure I got this book for Christmas. In fact, I know that I got this book for Christmas last year, so I would not have included it last year, therefore I can say it. We have The Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum. This is one of my favourite classics that I own, both in terms of reading content, but also just this cover is stunning. It is green and gold and just perfectly replicates this whole Emerald City, magical, lavish environment. It's all like glittery still on the back with like the stars. It's just an absolutely stunning book. Honestly, one of my favourites that I own. It's probably my favourite of my cloth-bound classics, although the Frankenstein with the anatomical hearts is a very close second, but also one of my favourite book covers that I own just in general as well. So whilst this book is not Christmassy, I think it's cozy enough that you could read it at Christmas, and this cover I think just like screams festive. If you want it to be festive, it can be festive. It's just like I can't stop like shaking it so the light reflects in my ring light. It's just beautiful. But other than that, I'm not actually reading any Christmas books this year. I did last year, and whilst Christmas romances are fun, I have nothing like against them. I don't like love them or particularly enjoy them, and since I don't have as much time to read this December as I did last year or in previous years, I've just decided to read books that I'm like genuinely really excited to read, and not just Christmas romances for the sake of Christmas romances. And those books that I really wanted to read ended up being more wintry, but because they're more wintry and like December reads rather than Christmas reads, they're mostly blue and white. And then we are on to the final question already. This has gone so quickly and I love this tag. So the final question is a book or series you want everyone to find under their tree this year. There are so many. I feel like I've had such a strange year in that when I've disliked books, I've really disliked them, but when I've loved books, I've really loved them. If you're gonna read any of like my favourite books of this year, just buy any Taylor Jenkins Reid book. I read both Daisy Jones and Malibu Rising this year. I gave both of them 5 stars, would have given both of them more than 5 stars if I could have. I just think that her writing and her ideas are so beyond anything else you can find on the market. They truly blow me away every time. If everyone wanted to like read one of my favourite books, I would just put Taylor Jenkins Reid under your Christmas tree. But then a book that I read honestly is like my second book of the year back in January of 2021 was Crescent City by Sarah J Maas. I'm not a huge spokeswoman for Sarah J Maas. I think a lot of the time her relationship and romantic elements of books are very two-dimensional, but Crescent City just blew me away. I have not fangirled that much since reading that book, and prior to that, probably since I was a teenager reading like The Infernal Devices for the first time. I was just like squealing, crying, freaking out, absolutely falling head over heels for the love interest. There was a little bit of a cliffhanger at the end, and I cannot wait for the next installment of the book to come out. This is like an adult urban fantasy. Nice to see Sarah J Maas like very firmly now writing for the adult market, and I'm really excited to see what she does with the second book. I'm hoping there's not a love triangle, but I'm also thinking that she might be able to make it work in a way that I don't hate it if there is one, based on how she set up the first book. I think there's potential for me to not hate it, so I'm just really excited to get on into the second book. But yeah, I enjoyed it so much. It really brought me back to like those years of reading that I miss so much, and I want to create like a little corner of the internet, the tiniest little corner of the internet, where you guys can come and feel like it's 2014 and you can absolutely fangirl about books again. Yeah, I want to get back to that, and I miss it, and I was really, really happy that this book gave me that feeling, and I want everyone to experience that if they miss it too. And with that, that is my festive Christmas book tag over. I'm very sad that it's over for another year, but I will be back with it again for another year, and there's no shortage of Christmas content to come. I will be posting more festive content, of course I will. I mean, look at me. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope that you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, why not hit that big red subscribe button down below and stay tuned for future content. I upload twice a week on a Wednesday and a Friday, so there is no shortage of bookish content here. Also, feel free to check me out on Instagram and Twitter at Page and Chapter, where you can get more behind the scenes, what I'm reading, and also choose what I am reading throughout the month of December. So don't miss out on that if you are interested. I hope you guys are having an absolutely amazing week. You are enjoying everything you are reading, and there are absolutely no reading slumps in your future, and I will see you next week for my next video. Bye guys, Merry Christmas!